Ed here with a Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing of the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. Now, this is not my first unboxing, it's actually my second, and that's because my pre-order that I placed directly with Samsung has finally arrived. And I have to say, if there's any product worth waiting for so far this year, and it wasn't an incredibly long wait, but it seemed like it would be this tablet right here because it is a game changer. I mean, depending on what you plan to do with a tablet here in 2022, this is for someone like me who's been waiting for a large form factor tablet really since the beginning of tablets becoming popular. So we're talking about the early 2010s. This is what I've been waiting for. I mean, the Toshiba Excite 13 was really a preview of what I thought would come eventually over time. And of course, we got to that class of 12 to 13-inch tablets, even in premium design. But this really, I think, epitomizes the search for this sort of product. So again, incredibly thin and light. We have an S Pen included. You can go with 3 different builds, basically their RAM and storage configurations. So I went with the middle-of-the-road model that gives you 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. I highly recommend that one. The key there being that I use a Z Fold 3 every single day. If you saw, I just went through some issues with it, but first time that I had an issue with that phone, it really is the best device ever as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, it's something where that has 12 gigs of RAM. It works perfectly, very similar CPU rather. Here we have something newer with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, as opposed to the 888 that is in the Z Fold 3 behind me. As you can see, Type-C cable here for charging. They do not include a charging brick. So I know that's, you know, a bit of a controversial point there. I think their point is that it's better for the environment, and everyone's already got one, but with a tablet that's over $1,000, you can't help but feel like this is a little bit rough, and I will join the chorus on that. And did I just make it harder to get the other box out? I think I did. And here you just got your SIM tool because you will want to get in there, even though this is a Wi-Fi only tablet. We do have storage expansion using a micro SD card to be exact. So I'll probably be dropping a 0.5 terabyte or 1 terabyte card into this tablet, and that really completes it as far as I'm concerned. 256 gigs of internal storage in that middle of the road option. If you step down to the lowest config, you're looking at 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage, and of course top of the line, which I think is a little bit crazy, trying not to rip this up, you're looking at 16 gigs of RAM, 0.5 terabyte of internal storage. Now, with that, as I struggle with my next removal here, you know, I would prefer to have 16 gigs of RAM, but I am still not going to make the argument for needing that difference between the 12 and 16. And until I can give you a personal use case scenario where that is a difference maker for me, I can't recommend it to anyone else. Now, look, if budget is a non-event and it's non-starter, no issue is what I meant to say, not non-starter, then go ahead and grab it. I mean, I just don't see, there are too many things working against picking that up. First and foremost, the pricing being absurd at $1,400. I mean, not that this is palatable, but anything less than that is certainly the direction you want to go in. Over $1,000 starting price point for that 8 gig with 128 gigs of internal storage. That model's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I recommend, again, the 12 gigs of RAM. You've got 2 cameras on here on the back, a 6 and a 13 megapixel shooter. Then you have a 12 megapixel selfie camera on that notorious notch that did find its way here. But it's okay, because with the aspect ratio that this rocks, along with the high refresh rate on this panel, I think it all comes out in the wash pretty nicely. Power button, volume rocker. You do have, of course, that SIM tray slot, which is really just for micro SD card storage expansion, because this is a Wi-Fi only model, as I mentioned. Really clean design. Type-C port there on the right side of the device. Speakers on pretty much, I was going to say all sides, but on the left and right. Excellent speaker quality. You will be hard pressed to find any tablet that will outperform it. On the bottom, your Pogo connection port system for connecting to, of course, the keyboard dock, and then, of course, more speakers and more microphone pinholes. That pretty much sums up the overall design of this tablet, which I think is excellent. It's just a big modern slate or slab, and it has everything. Great camera system, great pen that really is a mature inking system. One UI driving the whole experience, again, with what I think are still really good CPU to RAM and internal storage capacity configurations. Like they're all going to do well, but regardless of which one you go with, I don't think you're going to see much of a variation. Again, more RAM, always favorable, but that's on a case-by-case basis that I think most of you are going to do perfectly fine with that entry level. And of course, I should have mentioned this at the top of the video. I will include a link in the description. Surprise, surprise. Anything you purchase through there goes towards helping produce more content, if that wasn't obvious already. But this is just an excellent tablet that I can easily recommend to everyone. As it goes on sale, it's going to get even better. If you're an artist, a student, both of those things, a mobile professional that travels, that wants something that's lighter than a traditional Chromebook, this is how you do it. And unfortunately, this does mean that I'm sending back my Tab S7 Plus, but I think that's a worthwhile trade. I mean, I'm getting $600 from Samsung for this, which I don't think is excellent in terms of trade-in value. And I could sell it for more because it's in perfect condition. I've got the more desirable keyboard cover, that you would want to have with this, that they emulated for the Tab S8 Ultra. However, again, having to put up with people, deal with them, sell it, I would always rather avoid that. It's just too much of a pain in the ass. So even if I could get $100 or $200 more selling it to somebody locally, which I probably could with the keyboard, it's easier just to trade it in. And I'm just excited to get this going. If you were wondering where the other one's going, family, but it's just that good of a product, folks. If you're out there in search for a tablet that has changed the game, this is that game changer, unless, of course, you need something smaller. But all the people who complain about the form factor, I mean, I use tablets the majority of the time with a stand, some sort of case. This whole it gets too heavy to hold thing, I get it. I also don't get it because is everyone always walking around holding the tablets? I mean, that has not been a practical use of a tablet ever for me personally. If it is for you, I'm interested to hear it. Well, kind of, sort of, maybe not really, but you get the point here. There are legitimate criticisms of the size being too big, like not fitting in a bag, that to me is obvious. If it doesn't fit the way you travel, then that's the end of the story. But if it's about like hand fatigue from using it, I don't get that. As far as pen input, obviously having the larger surface area on this display is an inherent advantage. And from a hardware standpoint, again, every single element of this was upgraded over the previous generation, the Tab S7 Plus. Do I think it's that much of a jump? Absolutely not. That's why the large form factor tablet is the one I'm buying and trading in my S7 Plus for, because it really does separate enough from the competition. And as I've explained so many times on the channel, having something like this, a tablet in my pocket that's nearly 8 inches, means I need a tablet to be substantially larger. And while, the under 13-inch improvement that we got with the Tab S7 Plus was a major one, this is really what I've been waiting for. And if they even go larger, they could go to 17 inches as far as I'm concerned. That would still be a great device, in my opinion, for so many different uses, not just as an Android tablet, a second display. You can clearly use this as that as well for a Windows-based machine. There are just so many different creative ways to utilize something like this. It makes it easy to want to add. This is not like a Chromebook. This is, you can make comparisons. I get that when you get to the productivity side of thing, but Dex really is a game changer. But it's not like having any Ultrabook or 2-in-1 really, because again, its form factor, you just can't match with anything. Even a Surface Pro 8, which is the closest thing we get to in the PC world, still smaller display, much clunkier, I might add. This thing just checks every box. Long video, I said quick, I fooled you. Or if you're a subscriber, you already know I'm not fooling you at all. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.